So this Rumble really put over Braun Strowman as the new dominant giant. First thing he does is he gets in a brawl with Kane, and Kane tries to choke slam him, only to get powered out, and then he eliminated Kane. I was like, okay, that's kind of a big deal. And then him and Big Show have a showdown, and now you're really interested in seeing these two guys clash, because I really did like when the Wyatts attacked the Big Show. I was really excited to see that showdown occur. And first it looks like Big Show's going to get his choke slam in, only for it to get reversed into his chokehold, and Braun Strowman makes Big Show pass out while taking him over the ropes. Now it was a bit awkward when Big Show's foot got caught in, and so Braun Strowman kind of panics and is trying to get him out. A little out of character, but safety first, so I won't criticize him for that. And then later on, he'd take out Mark Henry too. And then, like, throughout this match, he'd even get a few good shots in against Brock Lesnar. So they're really making him seem dominant and dangerous. And I would love this if it wasn't for the fact that Braun Strowman kind of sucks right now. He's just way too green, way too inexperienced, and I kind of feel like they're forcing him down our throats too early. In my opinion, Braun Strowman, after he has established in that Reigns versus Wyatt storyline, have it to where, the Wyatts ultimately win because of his presence, but then have him go down to NXT or perform in house shows until he gets more experience, and only have him return occasionally when Bray Wyatt feels like he really needs him. Because every time I see him in a pay-per-view match, he always does something that looks bad. The TLC bout was a disaster, although a hilarious one. The rematch was actually a lot better, though. And this time, when he had his showdown with the Big Show and they're exchanging punches, his punches just looked awful. They made Big Show's punches look great. And Big Show's body shot punches are usually pretty embarrassing themselves. But I would take that any day over what Braun Strowman was doing. And it just seemed like, at times he was struggling with selling or even landing techniques in a way to make him look dangerous. I just felt embarrassed for him, and yet they're already putting him over, these legends like Big Show, Kane, and Mark Henry. So that's an issue I have. I hope he gets better. I think it would be awesome if he gets better. He has a good look, ignoring his kind of babyish face. I think he needs some sort of mask to wear in the ring. But he's just, right now, too inexperienced to be forced down our throats this way. Even Great Khali had more experience when coming in. So after him, we had Kevin Owens. And I really liked how Kevin Owens was selling his injuries. He was limping down to the ring. And Kevin Owens is a great asshole character. And when he took out AJ Styles, it was a great heat moment to where you fans were pissed off at him. And then Dean Ambrose comes out immediately afterwards, and they have their battle. And Dean Ambrose, okay, I love Dean Ambrose, but I did take issue with how he didn't appear to be selling his injuries like Kevin Owens was. They both should have been really limping. They both should have looked hurt. I'll come back to Ambrose a little later. After Ambrose, number 20 is Sami Zayn, and that was really cool when he came in, and I liked, once again, the attention to continuity when he shows up and has a confrontation with Kevin Owens, referencing how Kevin Owens was the man who injured Sami Zayn in terms of the storyline back in NXT. And so when Sami Zayn got revenge by throwing Owens out, it was a pretty satisfying moment. Unfortunately, Sami Zayn didn't last very long either before Braun Strowman took him out, but still, that was a good way to stand out. I won't complain. Eric Rowan was next. Nobody cared. Rowan is the most irrelevant person in the Wyatt clan. Mark Henry, he shows up, and he lasted like a minute before being taken out by, Braun Strowman and the other Wyatts. Brock Lesnar comes out next, and Brock Lesnar is super cool. He's the Beast incarnate. As I already pretty much said how he was used in the build-up to this, that I took issue with. But when he shows up and destroys everybody, it was exciting. It was awesome. He took out the entire Wyatt family except Bray. And then Braid, all he does is just order the Wyatts back in and then have Brock Lesnar taken out that way, which I don't mind as long as they do something with it. Hopefully this leads to some feud. I'm presuming that's where they're going for WrestleMania. Which, granted, I'm not entirely sure that Bray is a credible challenge to Brock because Bray has not been presented very well, but we'll see. Jack Swagger, oh god, he was the Rumble's bitch this year. Every year there's always one. At least R-Truth had a comedic moment before he was eliminated in 30 seconds. Jack Swagger just shows up, gets his ass handed to him real briefly by Brock Lesnar and thrown out, making the kickoff match seem just completely irrelevant because both of those winners were taken out in like a minute each. The Miz, okay, I actually really liked how The Miz was used in this match. I think The Miz is really underused in general. Every time he's on TV, I think he's a very entertaining personality. And here he shows up, he sees Lesnar, decides he's not going to get in the ring, he's just going to go on the commentary table for a while. And I thought that was pretty entertaining. That was a funny way to use a villain, and a little creative too. Unfortunately, once he finally gets into the ring, he never is given the opportunity to shine. But still, yeah, I won't complain too much. I thought Miz was handled very well. Alberto Del Rio, yeah, I had no complaints with how he was used. I was wondering where King Barrett was throughout this match. Why don't they ever use Barrett for anything? Start building him up, or just they do something. He's like the best talker of the League of Nations, and yet he speaks he has the least amount of mic time. I think he's a good performer. He deserves more. Alberto Del Rio did not need to be here. He already had his match with Kalisto, but still, he was fine. Bray Wyatt. As I said, my main concern with Bray Wyatt is he's being overshadowed by Braun Strowman in terms of booking, and Bray is becoming more and more of a manager than as the focal point of this stable. But I did like how the Wyatts were used mostly in the build up to this, whereas everybody else is bickering, they're fighting, the Wyatts are a united front, or a united force, and they could even take out Brock Lesnar when they put their minds to it. So that was cool. Bray, I thought, was handled very well. I liked his big moments. He seemed like he could potentially win, even though I knew he would not. And when he managed to get Brock Lesnar out, thanks to with the help of the other Wyatts, I thought that was a good way to make you hate him. Dolph Ziggler, boy, poor Dolph Ziggler. Poor Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler was once the most popular person on the roster. WWE fucked it up with some horrible booking, horrible writing, and then the whole love triangle with Rusev and Lana was the worst storyline ever. And I think it just killed all of his momentum to where fans barely react to him anymore. He is no longer really over with the crowds as he used to be. And I've never been his biggest fan, but I still think WWE missed an opportunity with him. He deserves more just because he is so popular, or he was so popular with the fans. And, even I'll admit that he has a lot of talents, but you could tell that he just doesn't care. He's just kind of phoning it in now in his matches. Every once in a while, he'll recapture that old fire, but it doesn't seem like it happens often anymore, in the past month or so anyway. I thought he did fine in this match. I thought Triple H punked him a bit much later on, but Dolph Ziggler, considering how he was still incredibly popular last year at the Royal Rumble, but it was taken out almost immediately and anticlimactically, that would make me mad. Here, he was able to do a lot more, so even though he's not as over as he used to be, I won't complain with how he was utilized here. Sheamus, boy, Sheamus is a good in-ring worker, and he has more personality and charisma and mic skills than some people, but not as much as others, and I kind of feel like his character is very blandly defined. He's a second-rate Rollins in terms of his persona, and they haven't done anything to differentiate, or they haven't done enough to differentiate him from Rollins, who was more compelling in that with that persona. Um, okay, this is where things started to fuck up with Roman Reigns. So early on, Roman Reigns gets jumped by the League of Nations. They beat him up really badly, and then they just left him there. I was like, why did they not throw him back in the ring? It seems like they're giving him time to recover. But then the next you see Roman Reigns is being escorted away by a doctor. And I was like, oh fucking god, they're going to do this. This is where the Rumble started kind of collapsing under its own weight. Because everybody knew that Roman Reigns was going to come back and make a triumphant return. And it just made Vince McMahon and the League of Nations seem stupid for presuming that the guy who does not go down easily, and they have admitted this, I think at one point he got compared to a cockroach. I could be wrong about that. Maybe that was Ambrose. He's going to go down easily just by being kicked a bunch of times. Yeah, he got body slammed through a table, but Roman Reigns has shown time and time again that he will get up eventually and come back. So that just made them seem stupid. But Roman Reigns missed the part of the Rumble where difficulty was at its highest. He missed when Big Show, Kane, Brock Lesnar, the Wyatt family, when they were dominating things. And so him to return after most of these people have been taken out meant that if he won, I don't know if he would have really earned it. And it made him seem cowardly that he just happens to come out towards the end of the Rumble after all the major competition has been eliminated. That was obviously not the intent, but that's what you can't help but feel. So it was really stupid, predictable, and just reminded us that WWE is kind of out of touch right now. Sheamus, once he came in, he never really had the opportunity to stand out either, which is a shame because he's supposed to be the main antagonist. Now, we know deep down that he's not, that he's just, no pun intended, a red herring, but he should have more opportunity to stick out and be dominant. And then entrant number 30 was Triple H, and I have to admit, I was surprised. Everybody else predicted it. It should have been obvious, but I did not, and I'm a little ashamed of that. And Triple H looks great. He comes in and beats the shit out of everybody. And I was surprised when he eliminated Roman Reigns. That confused me. And it ended up coming down between him and Ambrose. And Triple H ultimately won. And I'm not sure how I feel about that, considering Triple H is infamous for hogging the spotlight. We'll see. I'm not going to criticize them yet for this. I'm intrigued. I was surprised because I actually think that if Roman Reigns won after missing so much of the action, it would have only hurt him even worse. I could be wrong about that. Sorry. And Ambrose, yeah, he shouldn't have won. So I don't really know how they could have done this differently, but we'll see. I'm curious to see where they go, but I'm a little exhausted because I'm tired of seeing the villains hold the ball for so long. They carry the championship for months upon months, whereas the babyfaces get it for 1 or 2 months. And it just gets a little exhausting after a while. So my problem with this Royal Rumble was ultimately with how Roman Reigns was used. I did not like that at all. He was booked very poorly in this match, but otherwise I thought the match was very fast-paced, very entertaining. Yeah, some people were underused, some people were used very badly, but still, I enjoyed it. I thought most of the performers had at least a moment where they were allowed to stand out. So all in all, I thought this was a good show. I disagree with some of the endings. I don't think Kalisto should have won. I think Charlotte should have won playing dirty on her own terms, and I think the way they should have done something different with Roman Reigns. That kept the show from being great. But if they changed those aspects, if they changed the problems with the storytelling, made me care more about the New Day versus Usos and so on, I thought this would have been a great show because I thought the matches were really exciting. They were a lot of fun. I thought the Rumble itself was a lot of fun too. So I think you should watch this Royal Rumble event if you can. And that is all I have to say. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I shall see you guys later.